Hey everybody, it's your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast Show, your host to the number one podcast coming to you live in America. Today, you all are in for a very, very special treat. We are going to talk 1031 exchanges, a new phenomenon, maybe not new to you, but definitely new to some of us in my audience. And I want us to grow and I want us to expand. So I'm not going to hold you back. We are going to go for a ride with this expert in the field. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the number one podcast coming to you live in America. And today we have Mr. Dave Foster, founder and CEO of the 1031 Investor. Mr. Dave is a degreed accountant and serial real estate investor who is a qualified intermediary and consultant for tax saving strategies, the 1030 exchange, and the Section 121 homestead exemption. Mr. Foster breaks down exactly how to use the 1031 exchange in layman's terms. And I need layman's terms because we all need these tax savings to go into the future. And this is what's going to make us better and take our real estate to the next level. If you've tuned into this show, if you've stick with me for any amount of time, you know we talk about real estate on this show. And today we are going to take your real estate to the next level with this experienced expert. So help me welcome to the stage this incredible, amazing man, Mr. Dave Foster.
Hey, Marcus, how you doing today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
The Super Bowl again.
Thank you for joining us on the Gentleman Style Podcast stage, sir. You are phenomenal. Give him a round of applause, y'all. This man is incredible.
That's awesome. You know, Marcus, I was having trouble deciding what jacket I should wear today. Whether I should wear the jacket
and the significance of. Say again?
I said I was having a hard time deciding what jacket I should wear today. Whether I should wear the one from the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup or from the World Series. We're having a great year in Tampa Bay.
Really? Oh my gosh, I would wear the Super Bowl one. I will wear the Super Bowl one.
There you go. Unfortunately, of course, it's 80 degrees, so we don't need it. But that's okay. I'm looking forward to hanging with you today.
I appreciate you hanging with us today. And that's going to be incredible. So, Mr. Fawcett, tell us, sir, why is the 1031 exchange so important and something we should be paying attention to? Why is it significant?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, interestingly enough, there is a concept called compounding interest, which is used to build wealth for all kinds of people. And Albert Einstein, believe it or not, was the one who first said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who know it and understand it will benefit from it. Those who don't will pay it. How weird that was Albert Einstein that saw that, right?
Right.
But the 1031 exchange is actually a way to use the compounding effect in your real estate investing, because it's a method by which you sell investment property that's either highly appreciated or highly depreciated, and you purchase new investment real estate. And by doing it in the 1031 process, you get to indefinitely defer paying the tax on your profit. Yeah. So what that means is that you take the tax that ordinarily would have gone to your silent partner, Uncle Sam, and you use that for your benefit to buy new real estate. And then when that real estate makes a profit, part of that profit is from the investment of the deferred tax. And what do? Another 1031 exchange, which then lets you use that deferred tax plus the old deferred tax to make profit for yourself. And the next thing you know, over the course of 20 or 30 or 40 years, you have made a truckload of money simply by reinvesting tax that you normally would have paid to the government. That's compound interest.
Wow. Wow. That's huge. That's significant, right? And that's a significant thing. Is this something new? Is this some new tax swing with the Joe Biden administration, or has this always been around?
Strangely enough, it's actually always been around. It's one of the oldest parts of the tax code from 1920. Yeah, I know. Up until 1996, here's the rough history. It was not user friendly. Only investors with really large profits or who were highly attorneyed up could make it work. In 96, the law changed so that it became really user friendly for folks like you and I, just regular average real estate investors. And so from 96 to 2006, we saw this lovely trajectory of the 1031 exchange gaining popularity. But what happened in 2006, 2007?
The market crash, the real estate crash. It's tanked.
And all of a sudden, there was no more profit. There was no reason for investors to do 1031 exchanges. 2/3 of the realtors who were in it at that point left the business. So there was no longer any campfire knowledge about the power of the 1031 exchange. Now, we were part of that early process. So from 96 to 2006, we went crazy. 2007, we actually shut the doors except for our private clients, and I went and lived on a sailboat. And then as the market turned around, we began to get involved. But we realized that there is this huge gap in education that's needed. And that's why I restarted the 1031 Investor, because it's not new. It just feels new, but it's ever so powerful.
I love that. I love that. So it's always been around. It's always been here. It's had its ebbs and flows with the market, and as the market demanded it, and as the market saw fit. And so here you are, the expert, coming back in to re-educate the population. And I love that, and that's huge. When can I take advantage? Is this something for who can take advantage of 1031 exchanges, and who's it for?
Yeah, anybody that is investing in real estate that wants to continue buying real estate.
Okay.
That's really the profile. Because what you're going to do is you're going to sell a piece of investment property, and then you're going to buy different investment property. What the 1031 allows you to do is to change the type of properties, to change the location of properties, to go from something that's maybe one piece that's very expensive to several cheaper pieces of property, or to go the opposite direction from several inexpensive properties to one larger property. Maybe you want to go from rentals, long-term rentals, into vacation rentals, which you can use some yourself part-time. Or maybe you're looking to decrease your management load. So you go from properties that are heavy management load to more passive in nature. It all works as long as you're selling investment real estate and you're willing to buy new investment real estate.
That's powerful. And so that makes sense. And so we can use this to grow or divide up our current existing real estate. So if I have, let's say, a single family property or several, let's say I have several single family properties, I can use the 1031 exchange, the sell-off, the sales, the proceed from the sales of those single family properties to buy a bigger unit, a bigger multifamily unit. And from what it sounds like, and avert the tax penalties and avert the tax implications of that.
That's correct. Indefinitely deferring the tax.
What? This sounds illegal.
Well, you know what the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion is? Sometimes it's only which side of the door the lock is on.
Ooh.
But when it's tax avoidance, what's important is that you are simply following rigorously every part of the code that you are supposed to arrive at an allowed end by the IRS. And 1031 exchanges, they're not that easy There's some requirements you have to meet, but if you meet all of the requirements, that's exactly what you'll do, is you'll indefinitely defer it. And probably at this point, the next question that someone has is, well, but wait a minute, don't I have to pay it eventually? Because you keep
Exactly.
saying deferred. And the answer is maybe or maybe not. Because there is what I like to call the 4 Ds of the 1031 investor. So are you ready? You got a pen to write these down?
I do. I do. Well, let's go to one quick commercial break. We're going to get into the 4 Ds, y'all. Stay tuned. Stay with us. This is powerful stuff. We'll be right back. See you guys soon. Good day, podcast listeners. This is your boy, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I wanted to let you guys know that we will be rolling out a new feature and adding a join sponsor button next to the subscriber button here at the bottom of your screen. Once you click the button, it will display 3 membership levels. Gentleman Gentry, which is our entry level, Duke Duchess, which is our season level, and the Emperor and Empress, which is our most sophisticated level, which you will receive unique perks and benefits at each differing level and gain access to our community tab. We will also be sharing polls, upcoming events, and interviews, as well as receive feedback from our sponsors directly. Your support helps me find new and exciting guests to bring to the stage live. Well, in order to get the higher end speakers, it requires, well, some, you guessed it, money. So thank you for tuning in to my channel. And if becoming a sponsor sounds good to you, then select the join button below and choose your desired sponsor level. Let's continue to grow and serve the future of generations of men and women to come. Love you guys. Bye. Hey everybody, it's your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast Show. We have the incredible, amazing, the super fragilistic, expialidocious Mr. Dave Foster to the stage here on Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And he just broke down the benefits of the 1031 exchanges and who it can benefit and how you can use this to capitalize on your real estate platform. And so now he was about to teach us, what he's about to educate us on, are the 4 Ds of the 1031 exchange. These are rules and laws that we must follow. So, Mr. Fawcett, tell us, what are the 4 Ds to 1031 exchange?
So the 4 Ds to maximize your tax deferral are defer, and die. I know, I caught you on that one.
You did. Okay.
The reason why this is so significant, again, goes back to the compounding effort. Because as long as you own a property, you're never going to pay any tax on a sale. As long as any time you sell that property and do a 1031 exchange and purchase new real estate, you will never have to pay tax on the gain. It continues to work for you. As long as you own that property and keep moving it forward, you will never pay the tax. And if you die owning investment real estate, then your heirs will receive that real estate at what's called a step up in basis, which means they inherit it as if they paid market value for it on the day you died. In other words, if you die owning that real estate, the tax goes away. What? So you are not just able to indefinitely defer, but to defer forever and then give your heirs legacy wealth that's tax-free at the end.
Wow. That's huge. That's powerful. I don't even know why most people aren't getting into this. So why aren't more real estate investors doing this? What is it? Is it knowledge? Is it what's the holdup?
Yeah, it really is knowledge and education for the most part. Because again, remember I said when we first started tracking exchanges in 1996, there were maybe 50,000 the first year. By 2006, which was the last year we have tracked for certain, there were about 600,000.
Right.
And then the next year it went off the cliff. And
Right.
it's only now started to grow back. So it's really just about awareness. People don't know that this is available for them because the IRS, while they let you do it, they're not going to market it for you because they just assume you paid the tax, wouldn't they?
Wow. Wow. How does this affect the cash flow for my rental property? If I have rental property and I have, let's say, those six single family homes, and I 1031 into a 24 unit apartment building, does the 1031 cross streams like that? Because now I'm going from maybe a single family, which may be owned by a VA loan or a residential loan, and now I'm crossing streams into commercial. Does it cross streams like that?
Absolutely. The key is that it's all still investment real estate. And that's one of the requirements is that it's only available for investment real estate. But whether it is single family, multifamily, commercial, industrial, land, vacation rentals, as long as it is being used for investment, then you can 1031 that into any other type. So think about where we're at right now. As we were coming out of the bad times, I'll just call it that, a few years ago,
Right.
single family homes were so easy to buy and so many investors went into them. But as you and I both know, over the last 2 to 3 years, all of a sudden, the multifamily market is way overheated.
It is.
Everybody wants it. So, what an opportunity to sell your multifamily and go buy commercial,
True.
or to sell single family and go into multifamily. My clients in California complain because they can't make any money on their rentals,
Mm.
but they get a lot of appreciation. Well, now's the time to sell California where the appreciation is high and the cash flow is low, and go buy in Kansas City where appreciation may not be the greatest, but you get better cash flow. And that's how you use the 1031 to shape your portfolio so that it's producing the maximum cash flow each month and costing you the minimum amount to move that portfolio wherever you want to go.
I love that. I love that. This is incredible. Mr. Dave Foster is leading the charge, educating real estate investors and taking them to a better place, a better level. Mr. Dave, there are some stipulations with the money, and that's why people need your expertise, right? There is certain things I can and cannot do with the profit from the sale of that real estate, correct?
That's exactly correct. And that's where kind of the other drops in the 1031 is that, first of all, the IRS, like we said, it requires that it be investment real estate. Secondly, though, you can't do this yourself. The IRS requires that you use the services of an unrelated third party called the qualified intermediary, who's going to do a couple of things. They're going to document the process and the 1031 at both of the closings, the sale and the purchase, and they have to take custodianship of the proceeds in between. If you touch the money, you can't do a 1031. If it's not documented on the settlement statement of the sale, you can't do the 1031. So the QI is a very important guide for you. But all we can do is just the 1031. So you use all of your regular professionals, realtors, title companies, attorneys, accountants, and then the 1031 QI is an add-on process. And you want to think of them as your guide because they're making sure that the process is documented correctly. They make sure that you adhere to the timing requirements, which are pretty strict. You only have 45 days to identify your potential replacement.
45 days to find your new property?
Right, that's it. So you got to be really focused on locating it. You do have 180 days to close,
Okay.
but at the end of day 45, you're stuck with what's on your list. So you got to be
Whew.
really focused in your search.
Whew. So how does okay? So the 1031 is locked up. The 1031 locks up the sale money. What about the rental income? Does it have any effect on my rental income? Does that have to stay separate as well? Can I touch that money, or is that
Oh,
off the books as
absolutely.
well?
That's
Okay,
the whole point, is you're simply using the 1031 to buy the real estate that's going to provide you with the cash flow.
perfect.
So, you know what, Marcus? Why don't we let's go through the life cycle of what I call the accidental real estate investor. And I think we'll see very clearly some of the opportunities that are there. So one of the things that happens nowadays is we get married later in life, don't we?
We do.
It just happens. We're getting married older and older. And typically when we do, if we've got established careers, he's got a house and she's got a house.
True.
And they get married and they move into one of them. Guess what? They just became real estate investors because the other one now is a rental. By the way, do you know which house they'll always move into?
The bigger house, the smaller house. I don't know.
They'll always move into her house because it's the only one that's clean.
Ah, I like that. True.
So
True.
they've got an investment property. They kind of like that. So year goes by and they say, we like that income. Let's go buy another rental. So they buy another rental and then they buy another rental. And then they say, you know what? Maybe we could sell our first one and go buy two more. And so they do that. And then all of a sudden they wake up one day and they say, we're tired. Why is that? Well, because you've got 20 single family rentals. And they say, well, why don't we start selling three or four of these $100,000 rentals and go buy a $500,000 multifamily property? Because I get more cash flow per square foot from the multifamily and management is much easier. So they've expanded their portfolio using the 1031 and then they consolidate their portfolio using the 1031. And then sooner or later, they're going to decide maybe I want to invest in a different part of the country. And they'll use the 1031 to do that. And maybe I want to go from residential into commercial. And they'll do that. And then at the end of their careers, they'll turn their properties into either vacation rentals that they'll spend a few weeks in a year themselves, or they'll turn them into rental properties that are really, really nice because after a year or two, they're going to convert them into their primary residence. And they will sell their primary residence. And I don't know if your listeners know about this part of the code or not, but Section 121 says that if I have lived in a property I own for 2 out of the 5 years prior to sale, then as a married couple, I would get to take the first $500,000 of profit tax-free, not tax deferred, tax-free. And I can do that once every 2 years. Yeah. What a retirement plan. I'm going to spend it moving into my rental properties and converting tax deferred into at least part tax free. When you do a conversion, you've got to do a proration. So you don't get 100% tax free, but you get a significant amount. But when you first retire, that first sale of your primary residence is going to be tax free. And that kickstarts your retirement.
Wow. Wow. You all see that? Do you all see the level of think? Mr. Dave just broke it down and took us 3,000 foot view and broke it down piece by piece and strategized, helped us develop a strategy to maximize the potential of our 1031 exchanges, therefore maximizing the potential of our future retirements and building legacy. That's phenomenal. Give the man another round of applause, y'all. That's huge. That is huge. My goodness. Mr. Dave, thank you for breaking it down to that level. That's huge and significant. How does one make this a passive, right? Some of us, there are active real estate investors who love the grind, who love getting their hands dirty. But how does someone turn this into a passive investment strategy?
Sure. Well, the first and easiest way, of course, is to simply hire management.
Yep.
So if you're in a residential investment, you hire a management team
True.
and they extract their fee and you go along your way. When you start to move into multifamily, you get into some other opportunities where you can still do that. But also, if you're buying large enough units, you can buy them so that you can position in-house management. One of the units you give to a manager, and that becomes part of their pay. So they live on site, they manage the units, they manage the rents, you collect the check. That's level number 2. Now, level number 3, where my investors typically go, is that ultimately they will want to move into commercial investing. And in commercial investing, first of all, the leases are much longer.
Right.
So it's much less work. It's less management intensive.
Yeah.
And many of those leases are what we call triple net leases, which just simply means that the tenant, who is usually a large corporation that's multinational and guaranteeing the lease, like a Walgreens. Walgreens guarantees the lease, and they are responsible for all taxes, insurance, and maintenance.
Mm.
So the only thing that happens during the duration of that 25-year lease is a check comes to you every month from Walgreens.
No maintenance.
No maintenance whatsoever.
What?
So that by itself is pretty huge. And that's the next step in passive. Now, the step beyond that, if you don't want to go into commercial investing where you own the whole property, would be to go into things called Delaware statutory trusts. And what these are is simply fractional ownerships of a much larger piece of real estate. Again, maybe I'm using this example, Walgreens, because it works, because everybody knows them. But maybe it's a Walgreens building that's a $5 million building, and you've got $500,000.
Right.
So you would invest and buy 10% of that building in the vehicle called a Delaware Statutory Trust. Now, the sponsor of the trust is responsible for all the management. You're simply a passive investor receiving a check every month. And the sponsor, the syndicator, is the one who is managing the relationship with the Walgreens. That's about as passive as it gets, other than turning them into your primary residence and living in them.
Right. Wow. Wow. Mr. Dave, this is major. This is huge, sir. This is phenomenal. How can my audience connect with you? How can we partner with you? How can we learn from you and grow from this?
Yeah, well, like we talked about before, because of the gap in education, that's why we started the 1031 Investor. And so if you go to the1031investor.com, you will find a whole YouTube channel of about 35 videos. You'll find calculators that can help you determine your gain and help you fix your 1031 timeline guidelines. You'll find blog articles that we've placed on there and all kinds of other good stuff. And that's the place to go, the 1031investor.com. Make sure you yell at me when you come in there, and feel free to contact us at any time.
Amazing. Mr. Dave, thank you so much. This is incredible. Sir, what's your favorite way to give back? I always have to ask my audience, my guests, these questions. What's your favorite way to give back to the community?
Okay, it's trivial and it's fun and it's trite. But you know what my family's having a ball doing right now?
What's that?
We foster rescue puppies.
I love it.
I love it. So much fun. It's just amazing. Taking care of those little rascals, getting to play with puppies all day long, and then watching them go to their forever homes. It's a hoot. We have a lot of fun.
I love that. That's awesome. Y'all give him another round of applause for that. That's huge. He's giving back and he's saving. I know PETA loves you. PETA loves you very much, but that's needed, right? We can't forget our little ones, our four-legged friends as well. Mr. Dave, thank you so much. This is huge. This is phenomenal. My guess, my audience, you all need to tune into this man. Is there any final words, any tips of advice, any questions that I did not ask you that you want to give nuggets, golden
Yeah,
nuggets
you
that
need
you
to
want to
ask
leave?
me what the most significant book is in my life.
Yes. What is that?
It's the Bible, and it's the
Amen.
book of Proverbs in particular. Because if I was going to tell anyone wanting to go into business or personal relationships, the one book to read is the Proverbs. Everything is in there you need to succeed at business, from how you treat customers to how you build a business to even how you negotiate. Do you remember the proverb that says, it's worthless, he cries. And then he goes out and brags about his purchase. That's how to negotiate. So you buy low and sell high. Go to the Proverbs. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and that's where it's found.
Amen. 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 I love that. I love that. Mr. Dave, that was necessary and that needed to be said. I thank you for saying that. And thank you for bringing that to attention. I appreciate you very much for taking time out of your busy day to give back in this way. This is phenomenal. And so, Mr. Dave, I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I've never had an
Always.
audience where they actually clap for me. It's amazing. But I got to tell
Yes.
you, you mentioned that I try to speak in layman's terms. The reason for that, Marcus, is I'm always trying to talk to the stupidest person in the room. And since that's always me, I've had plenty of practice.
You're not stupid at all. You are the smartest man. You are one of the smartest mans in the room. And you are the smartest man in the room today. And I appreciate you. That's major.
Thanks. It's been fun being here.
Absolutely. It's fun having you. And thank you all, my audience, for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast show today. I hope this message has served you. I hope this has helped you. I hope this has impacted your life in some way for the better, because that is the goal of this show and that is the goal of my channel. So I hope this really helps. It helps me. Mr. Dave, don't give up. Don't ever stop what you're doing. Don't ever quit, because we need you. The world is impacted. Our four-legged friends need what you're doing, sir. Absolutely. And thank you. Oh. Thank you all, my audience, for tuning into the Gentleman Style Podcast show. Like I always end every show, every episode, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman, the Gentleman Style Podcast, and Mr. Dave Foster of the 1031 Investor signing off. We love you guys. Bye.